What up, Causenetic family?
Hey, welcome to the Causenetic podcast.
Causenetic means being a person or thing that gives rise to a phenomenon that is dynamic or energizing.
Hey, I'm Keith Benson.
We're not tackling topics and telling the truth?
Now we are.
Okay then.
Who are you?
I'm Rodrigo Ross.
All right.
I didn't know whether we were. So the topic that we are tackling and telling the truth on today at this live podcast here at the Equitable Communities Agenda Equity Conference in lovely Baltimore, Maryland, is called Trials and Trailblazing. And we have some amazing guests with us today that are going to talk about the trials and the trailblazing that they're doing. Welcome to the Causenetic podcast. Heather Foster with the Greater Missoula Family YMCA President and CEO. Kari Lee with the YMCA of San Francisco, and Erin Clark, who is also with the YMCA of San Francisco. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Causenetic podcast.
Hey, look, before we get started,
Oh, good grief.
do y'all think y'all can get me some tickets to see Steph Curry?
They can't. They can't.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I didn't tell you I was in the suite the other day and saw Dallas beat the Warriors. Did I tell you that?
Why are you telling me that now?
Because
you couldn't have told me that.
We're talking about trailblazing. And so,
and they're not even the Trailblazers.
well, they beat San Francisco.
Oh, my God.
I mean, they beat the Warriors. How about that?
One time.
Just one.
Steph Curry is a trailblazer.
I'm sorry. We chasing Brad. Hey, but look,
is.
you guys are doing some incredible work. Let's talk about San Fran and the trailblazing work that you guys doing. Will you talk a little bit about some of those things?
They're definitely considered the rabbit to chase across the movement. San Francisco is known for its innovative diversity work. So yes.
So we're kind of like what's the cartoon where
the Road Runner and the Coyote?
No,
We the Coyote?
no. The hunter was trying to chase the rabbit. He could never get.
Oh, Elmer Fudd. You said we Elmer Fudd.
We Elmer Fudd and y'all Bugs
And y'all
Bunny.
Bugs Bunny.
We trying to catch you, but we can't catch you now.
Well,
but talk about the great work that
Taylor
y'all
Ray
doing.
being Elmer Fudd.
Wow. Okay.
Did we end up in a stew?
So I wish I knew more about who Elmer Fudd.
Oh, all right, that's a whole nother show.
That is a whole nother show. No pressure, right, from San Francisco. So, I mean, I think we're in the work like everybody else. We are just trying to peel the onion, right? In every area, we're large. We have all these folks doing all these different things in so many different communities. So for us to peel the onion is just going out and just unraveling, right? Like, what are people's stories? What are people's truths? And then trying our best to like pull all of those together and, how do we make change for a system that, what are we, 100 and how many?
63, I think.
163 years,
that,
right? For me, like I'm working in the Chinese community for the last 25 years, and my parents' experience, my experience, the experience of the new immigrants now, like that's a whole onion on its own. And you go, and we got to do that for the 18, 20, 25 communities that we serve. So that's our journey, and it's an adventure for sure.
You guys are doing it. Like some of the stuff that comes out, some of the truth telling and some of the grappling and the strategy that comes out of San Francisco is like, yes, cheat code, right? Because that's the part that is really hard and rigorous. That when organizations get there, they be like, I think I'm gonna tap out. Like I think it's too hard. But just knowing that, okay, well, number one, San Francisco kind of pushed through it, right? And number two, this is where they got, perhaps, maybe let's start there. Really, I think, even though you all are looking at it from a local perspective, I really do think that it is going to have implications for the entire movement. So, good job, Sam.
Well, Heather, I mean, people are going to ask the first question, well, where is Missoula?
Missoula.
Montana doing in this conversation?
I am so glad Montana is here.
Let's talk about Montana.
Yes.
We're just like sucking off of the draft of all of the work that you guys have been doing, because we lovingly say we have the Montana lag time.
Okay.
So we're a solid decade, I think, behind a lot of organizations, and I think we're one of the only Ys in Montana, which there's only 7, right? We're a huge state with very few people. So I think we're the smallest group in this whole cohort. Okay. We're a single Y, about 300 staff, $5 million budget, and the closest YMCA to us is about 350 miles away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So talk about some of the specific work that you guys are doing or trying to tackle
With
in
those
this cohort.
kinds of, right?
Yeah.
Barriers. Some people might even call them challenges.
Yeah, it's exciting for us. I think we are, in some ways, leading the way in our state and having conversations like this. This opportunity to participate in this has been a game changer for us.
Yeah.
Because we're so small, money like this would never be set aside to dedicate to this kind of work, learning, training for our staff. So we're doing a lot of stake in the ground work, saying, here's who we are. We've been we've only been around 55 years. So you think about 160 plus years.
Right.
We have a lot of work to make up in Montana and in Missoula. Our Missoula is known for keep Missoula weird. We're like the small Portland of Montana, the blue dot in the red state.
Yes, I love it.
We have a pretty robust LGBTQ community in Missoula, and so we're also a refugee resettlement community. We're the only one in our state.
Yeah.
And we sit on indigenous land, right? And so I think we have a lot of hard conversations we need to have.
And unique opportunities. And so I was reading for something else. I was getting data for something else and started to read about this phenomenon called in-migration, right? And so while lots of people are focusing on the people who are coming into the United States from other countries, during the pandemic, there's been a lot of in-migration in that citizens, United States, citizens are moving all over the place with this whole remote work. And one of the areas that is booming, that people are flooding to, is Montana, right? And so are you guys feeling that? Is that affecting the work? I was like, wow, their population jumps across the pandemic. I was like, good Lord. I bet the store is very crowded now.
Yeah.
I know they don't have my shoe size in there now, because...
Well, there's not many stores that do have your shoe size. But,
Really? Really?
Now I was like,
Yes, we're recording,
I'm
King.
sorry, my bad. I didn't mean that.
Yes, you
but
did.
We'll talk. But both you guys are dealing with, a couple of populations that are not widely talked about a lot. You talk about the Chinese community. I'd love to hear a little bit more about some of that specific work that you guys are doing there.
Pause. I'm sure you're going to cut the pauses. I had to think for a minute about that. Well, San Francisco is 34%, right? Chinese, the population of San Francisco. So, so many people who are native to San Francisco, we grew up feeling as a majority. In some ways.
Wow.
So I think our experience is very unique to the Bay Area and maybe even specifically San Francisco. So at the work, I think, like anywhere in any community, but especially in communities of color, is that YMCA centered in the community first and in the Y second, right? Can we live our mission and translate our mission to make sure that it originates from the community that it's in. I feel like that's the work that is key to this, to being an equitable community agenda. So but I don't know.
Yeah, I would add to that I think it's also how can our Y be a place that is helping people manage intersectionality. So earlier today, one of the speakers was talking about when we talk about race in America, we often make it a black or a white issue. And one of the things that's been really illuminated for me through this process is when we get into a room and people have really honest conversations, we understand that there's a whole lot more to it. And in a place like San Francisco where you have a lot of diversity and intersectionality, there's so much more to the conversation. And so how can the Y be a skill builder that hopefully would then have a ripple effect in the community as well? Because we all need these skills to be citizens, to be productive citizens.
Sure.
It makes me think about just, I think it's this work, the equitable communities work, but also the dig work. I felt like my place in the Y was in Chinatown. Because it's my people, it's my family's people, and it's this work that just pushed me to figure out, like, how is there a place in the Y movement that I can better serve the mission? And it really pushed me out of my own comfort zone.
Oh, wow.
So just personally, like, I recently changed jobs, and I didn't think I would need to ever leave my community. And just in the last year, I've seen my role as needing to be a part of the larger organization, and not just focused in on my. And I think for people of color, like, that's a road that we all have to travel.
Yeah, that is so very true. I think I experienced the same thing, moving from, because the bulk of my work has been in low income, marginalized Black and brown communities on purpose. Like, there were suburban jobs and opportunities that I passed by because I was like, it's not the right thing. But then I also had the opportunity, right, to do some of that stuff on the association level. And yeah, you're right. It's different. It does put you on your learning edge while you're trying to usher an organization on their learning edge too, and so we're all kind of fumbling around, but you got to play it off real good, like, oh yeah, I know, this is, yeah.
But the beauty,
I don't know what's going on
the
right
beauty
now.
of the Y, though, it gives us that opportunity to work in our specific places of passion. And I think I would say, as the older I get, I realize what is that. Now, sometimes I think young folks is like, yeah, this is all I want to do. This all. And then it's like, come to a place in time that's like, okay, I have an opportunity to excel, get promoted to another place, but it's not in that specific area. Now what do I do? And I think you got to find that place where you figure out, like, yeah, I still want to do my passion work, and I still can at this elevated level. So
I have a question for Heather. You gonna let me ask my question?
Yes, ma'am, I will.
Can I ask my question?
Go on, talk over me. Go ahead. That's all right.
Start with me, Keith Vincent.
I ain't gonna start.
I have been you already did when you told me they didn't have my shoe size.
Well, you bring it up again, but I don't want to
did.
elevate that particular conversation.
You
but go ahead.
You do. He does. This is what he does to me, y'all. So Heather, doing this work, like we were saying, with this concept of immigration, you're in Missoula, Montana, and you're a white CEO, right? Who is really carrying the banner and championing and being the advocate for truth, even if that truth sometimes comes out where it puts one demographic in an unfavorable light. How is that for you personally? Like, how are you taking care of yourself? How are you navigating these spaces? How are you leading others?
I think having this cohort has been so helpful, so I can reach out to other people and have conversations. It's terribly uncomfortable, right? That's exactly, I think, how it's supposed to feel. That's how I should feel. And I think being comfortable in that uncomfortable space and making our
you should write a book about that. Oh, good gracious.
board be really uncomfortable, right? Like, we have a whiteboard. It's uncomfortable as hell.
But that's
and
the
it
only
should
way,
be.
right. Regardless of what the topic is, the only way we have growth is because we get in an uncomfortable place.
Yeah.
So are you taking care of yourself, though? Because
who does that? Do you guys do that? No.
Oh, I buy shoes.
I buy shoes too.
Yeah, let's buy shoes.
Yeah.
I mean, because this work is really hard. And one of the things in the speakers that we had earlier today that was talking about self-care, like, that is so true. You will burn out and you didn't really pass the baton, or you get kind of bitter and embattled with the work, and then it just kind of stops. And so, like, we gotta help people understand, we don't want you to perish in the work. Like, we're not trying to create superheroes and martyrs. And that's not always only people of color. Like, we have allies who, heck, you could be striped or polka dot, who are feeling that same level of pressure and tiredness and weariness.
It's finding your people, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, you gotta have people that you can have these kind of conversations
That's
with.
good. That's good. You gotta find your people.
So how do you guys, are you guys disruptors in your communities when it comes to talking about this work? Or do people, like, rely on you all to come to as resources?
I'll do Missoula real quick because they'll be quick. Yes and no, right? This is new for us to say it out loud. We've said things like, all are welcome.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We create welcoming spaces for everybody. That is not true.
Yeah.
People have been uncomfortable and felt unsafe in our Y.
Yep.
And so I think part of the work we're doing here is what is our messaging, so we can be very explicit about, we say that now we want to meet it, and we want you to hold us accountable for meeting that. So yes and no.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're getting there. We're moving the needle.
Yeah,
It's
process.
slow.
Yeah.
I would say that we are in the YMCA of San Francisco, in the greater San Francisco Bay Area ecosystem.
Yeah.
I wouldn't describe us as disruptors. No, I mean,
Wow.
the San Francisco Bay Area is very, very rich with nonprofit
Yeah.
and advocacy organizations. We've always been focused on direct service, and we've always been focused on, I would say, direct service, and very proud of serving vulnerable communities in very meaningful ways.
Yeah.
We've not really taken the mantle of advocacy. We have individuals that work in our organization that are also very powerful advocates.
Yeah.
But that's not been the focus of the organization. And so we're leaning into that in a new way. It's a new skill, it's a new muscle.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable in some
Yeah.
cases. There's a lot of should we, shouldn't we conversations happening.
A lot
figuring
of
out
what if scenarios,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. It can be scary for an organization. It's like, okay, what does this mean? Because who is it that said the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? Like we had the best of intentions to kind of be forthcoming and the advocate for this in our community, but collateral damage is stuff with funders and stuff with members, and if you don't push the messaging concisely all the way through the organization, you have people throughout the levels saying different things, and people are picking you apart because it's inconsistent.
and when do you when do you and when do you not, and what
Right.
screen are you using to
Yeah.
determine, and all of that. So it's
Yeah.
a whole muscle that we
It
have
is
to
definitely a
Yep.
thing.
All right, so how do we get the message deeper? So great that the C-suite is maybe having some conversation and the board is, but does it, when I talk deep, I'm talking down to your part-time staff can say that this is what our YMCA is all about. How do we get to that place right there?
Yeah.
Because I think it's, because we can say, oh, well, we talk about it in our executive directors meeting. Oh, okay, but tell me about that part-time staff who's working day camp for seasonal. Like, how do we get that deep? What do we need to do?
Yeah.
I think we're lucky because we're small, right? We know most of our employees. I mean,
Okay.
there's going to be some we don't know,
Fair.
but we only have 300 staff, and 55 of them are full time. We
Okay.
have a pretty
Yeah.
good opportunity to have deep, meaningful conversations with a lot of people.
Nice.
That is the blessing of
That
having a
is
small Y.
definitely the blessing.
The message moves fast.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
Right.
And you'll start to see people leave and see people come.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the
Now
big.
you guys are
the
triple,
kinda other
double,
side of the
quadruple
spectrum.
size of them. What?
They're like
How do you get it that
500
deep?
trillion members. That's the last number that I saw.
Yeah.
I think that's the official. Yeah.
That's the official
500
number.
trillion.
500 trillion.
Right.
Like
Wow, that
McDonald's,
means I
the
must have
number
done
of
something
hamburgers
right.
served, right? 500 trillion.
Yeah, I think it is hard. I mean, I think that we have a long way to go with getting the message deep. I feel like this is the opportunity of this particular grant is to shift our decision making and shift our ways of gathering feedback to the front line. And so in our vision process, in our system change process, we're just testing that out now.
Gotcha.
We're just like, okay, we're inviting anybody in the organization to be a part of this decision around leadership development.
Yep.
And if you're part-time, then we'll pay you for your time. If you're full-time, then we'll, make sure that you actually have the time and it's not just the other thing to add on top of the job, right? We're gonna,
Right,
how can
right.
we help you to make the space to be a part of this conversation? And those groups have just started. Those groups are have been empowered to innovate and suggest change and then pilot the change.
That's good stuff.
But we're just right at the beginning of that.
Yeah.
So we'll let you know. I mean, we've tried it. We've done it to develop our equity anti-racism strategy, and it was 45 staff and board members, and but it was hard. Even if you invite, that doesn't mean part-time staff are going to come flooding
true.
at you.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
true.
Right.
Exactly.
Then we were like,
Exactly.
okay, so what happened?
Yeah.
Where are they? And so it takes like the intention, and in the end, we realize it's just going to take relationships.
Yeah.
Continuing to ask the frontline staff, what is your story?
Yeah.
Continuing to have space for part-time staff to say, to let them talk about their community and their own stories, right? And so we still have a long way to go.
Well, I think the thing that both of you all said is about relationship. Regardless
safety.
Relationships and safety.
Yes.
Regardless what the size of the organization is, when we start building those relationships, then we can take those next
Creating those
steps
safe places.
to be able to
Yeah.
go a little bit deeper, so that we have this safe place that everybody can have their, what we say, safe space, brave space. Everybody can be intentional and bold enough to be able to tell their story. I mean, you guys have set two great examples for us. We got
Trials and trailblazing. You see
there
what
you go.
I did there?
I see that. I said that. Now you are a trial. But we got Missoula represented in the house, and San Francisco represented in the house, guys. Look, we want to thank everybody. I'm all over the place right
This
here.
is nothing new. We've only been doing this 4 years.
4 years?
4 years. Season
that
4.
I've been putting up with you. Have mercy.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you guys for listening to Causenetic.
On this episode called Trials and Trailblazers with Heather Foster, Kari Lee, and Erin Clark.
Hey, subscribe and listen to us weekly.
And don't be shy, give us a 5-star review.
And as always,
Be dynamic.
be phenomenal.
Be
Causenetic.